So today is December 2nd, 2024, and we have got a lot to get caught up on. We're hearing about nuclear warnings to the United States. In addition to that, an assortment of news. I'm going to be covering the latest for you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the latest headlines so that way you can see exactly what is going on. Russia and China issues an update after nuclear bombers patrolled near U.S. allies. As we're hearing that in the Pacific over the weekend, nuclear bombers were in the air in the Pacific. This caused a lot of concern, and this comes, as I just shared with you, nuclear bomb map shows impact of Russian weapons of major U.S. cities. I went into detail in various cities they are saying to watch out for, and this comes as we just received a warning from FEMA, the U.S. government. U.S. Nuclear Attack Survival Guide has now been issued, and they're saying 15 minutes is enough time to save your life potentially. They released an updated guide on potential nuclear attacks. Now, if you want to get more information on that, the guide and the maps of the cities that are on the nucleus, stick around to the end because I'm going to go into more detail here at the very end. And as always, all of these articles that I'm going to be referencing, they're going to be linked in the description below, so that way you can see them for yourself. I always like to make sure that I hold myself accountable to the community, cite all the sources just like a book report, so that way you know that it is the latest. You can see the sources. And again, if you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a second, hit that like button for me, and also subscribe to stay up to date if this is your first time here. So first up, let's take a look at this article cited down in the description coming out from Newsweek. This article came out this morning with an update as to what unfolded over the weekend as Russia and China have issued updates after nuclear bomb patrol near U.S. allies. So we are hearing that nuclear bombers were in the air in the Pacific this weekend, causing a lot of alarm. China has now claimed that it and Russia did not target any third party while their nuclear-capable bombers patrolled near the allies of the United States in the Western Pacific Ocean. According to the Defense Ministry in Japan, the joint Russia-China air patrols were carried out on Friday over the Sea of Japan, also known as the East Sea in South Korea, as well as over the East China Sea and the waters east of the so-called First Island chain on Saturday. The Chinese Defense Ministry confirmed the flights, saying they were part of an annual cooperation plan with the Russian military. The mission did not target any third party and had nothing to do with the current international and regional situation, Beijing added. So let me know your thoughts, though. This causing a lot of alarm right now with everything we've got going on. These drills, they cause a lot of concern. Having actual nuclear bombers running drills in the Pacific from China and Russia. And also, we have heard that if there were to be attacks against the United States, it would likely be those states that border the Pacific. So we are on the watch for Alaska. There's been a lot of talk about Russia taking Alaska, trying to take that back. Hawaii, California, Nevada, Washington, all of those states bordering the Pacific are the ones that are of concern. And Alaska primarily has gotten a lot of attention recently. And I actually just shared with you in that nuclear warning we received from the U.S. government, they said that if you're in the state of Hawaii, not very likely. You have the worst chance of survival if you are in the state of Hawaii. Now, the Russian Defense Ministry claimed that aircrafts involved in the joint patrol missions, including bombers and fighter jets, did not violate the airspace of foreign countries as they acted strictly in line with provisions of internal law when performing the flight missions. This two-phase mission was the 9th Joint Strategic Aerial Patrol conducted by China and Russia since 2019, the Chinese Defense Ministry said. In the previous instance, in late July, the Russian and Chinese bombers transited over the Bering Sea of the U.S. coast of Alaska. Now, while Tokyo said neither Russia nor China violated its airspace, it denounced them for conducting a show of force against Japan that was a major concern for safety and security. Newsweek emailed the Defense Ministry in Moscow and Beijing for comments. The Sea of Japan, or the East Sea, separates the Japanese archipelago to the east and the Korean peninsula to the west, lying between America's treaty allies of Japan and South Korea. On Friday, South Koreans, they scrambled their jet fighters to intercept the joint patrol. So even though they're saying that this was essentially a typical drill, we're hearing that South Korea was scrambling to make sure that they could intercept what was going on. And here you can see the flight paths of these. You can see Japan's air defense zone, South Korea's, Taiwan, the Philippines, those border areas. Japanese fighter jets were deployed for 2 consecutive days to prevent airspace violations. Strategic aircraft of Russia and China were accompanied in their air patrol mission by foreign fighters on individual route segments, said Moscow, referring to the bombers. Meanwhile, the first island chain, which extends southward from Japan to the Philippines via Taiwan, is one of 3 layers of U.S. defense concepts that would constrain the Chinese military's naval and air activity in wartime by using allied or friendly territories, Newsweek said. Now, the Russian and Chinese aircraft transit over the 2 major waterways around Japan during the patrol, including the Tsushima Strait between the country and South Korea and the Miyako Strait in Japan's southwest islands, forming part of the first chain of islands. According to reports prepared by the Japanese military, Russia and China deployed 2 of their bombers, the Tu-95 and the H-6, respectively, for the 2-day Joint Strategic Air Patrol, as well as supporting fighter jets, spy planes, and an aerial refueling aircraft. The Russian Defense Ministry confirmed that the Tu-95 MS bombers they were assigned for the mission, which saw them landing and taking off from an airfield in China. The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientific says the Tu-95 MS can carry up to 14 nuclear-armed cruise missiles. So again, the major concern is that these are nuclear-capable bombers that were flying in the Pacific. However, Russia and China at this time, they are saying that it is just a drill. However, as you can see from the article, they were saying that South Korea was scrambling at the news of this, very concerning and alarming to them as well. Now, the Chinese media claimed that it was the first time in the country's Air Force that they had deployed an H-6N bomber for patrols with Russian aircrafts. According to the Pentagon, the H-6N is China's first nuclear bomber capable of receiving fuel in flight. So again, nuclear bombers in the air, very concerning as this was taking place in the Pacific over the weekend, yet China and Russia claiming this is just ordinary drills. Let me know your thoughts. Do you trust Russia and China? Yes or no? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Now, during the second day of the joint patrol, the Chinese Y-20 aerial refueling aircraft was seen providing fuel to a J-16 fighter jet. According to a photo taken by the Japanese Air Force, the Chinese fighter jets were spotted arming with missiles as they escorted the bomber as well. So they've got these jets that are accompanying this nuclear-capable bomber over the Pacific. Very concerning. Russia and China saying no need to worry, just typical drills. Yet again, there is a lot of tensions taking place, and I just shared with you over the weekend that we received an update from the U.S. government, from FEMA, saying nuclear bombs, here is what they would look like if Russia were to unleash their most powerful Satan nuclear warheads. I believe it's called Satan or Satan 2. I can't remember the actual names and acronyms that they use, but I covered these maps for you in detail in a previous live stream, and it was pretty shocking, the impacts. And I covered each one for you. Now, just a quick recap. This is Washington, D.C. They are saying that if it were to hit in the heart of D.C., this inner yellow circle is where the fireball would be, and this is where you would see the mushroom cloud come up. Now, in the gray area, everyone in this area would be lit on fire and would be blinded, and this would be pretty much almost close to instant death as well. Everybody out in this outer yellow circle right here, this is the third-degree burns from radiation that would take place and would cause a lot of devastation. We're also hearing that around this range as well, I believe the inner gray circle, the streets would be so hot that they would turn to magma lava. And then out here in this outer gray zone, you will survive. You might receive some exposure to radiation, and all the windows and all the buildings would shatter, which could cause danger to people as glass would be flying everywhere. So this is the extent of it, and it covers several square miles. They cover each one and the amount of people that would be impacted. Now, I covered this for you. This was Washington, D.C. They released specific maps on this. Also, New York, you can see here how far it would reach out. Here is one for Los Angeles, and you can see that this reaches all the way out to Thousand Oaks if it were to hit the downtown Los Angeles area. Chicago as well, Houston, Texas, where I live, and I am right in the area that I would essentially be vaporized because I'm right in the center of the city. It reaches all the way out to the Gulf Coast. Phoenix, Arizona, you can see pretty much engulfs the entire city of Phoenix. We also have Philadelphia. You can see the extent of this. So they are saying you've got about 15 minutes to try to get out of there before it could be life-threatening and ending, and you are essentially vaporized, they're saying. And here's another one for San Antonio. You can see San Antonio pretty much would be just engulfed and wiped out. And San Diego as well. And we also have Dallas. I believe Dallas was the last one that was mapped. Now, this does not encompass the entire list of all the cities that they have said are on the watch list for potential nuclear attack if we run into a conflict with Russia. However, these are just the ones that they've covered in detail, and you can see that here in Dallas, they're saying that if this particular nuclear bomb from Russia, an incredibly powerful ICBM with nuclear warhead capabilities, were to hit, it would reach all the way out and be felt to Fort Worth if they hit the center of Dallas. Now, this comes, as I mentioned, if you have not looked it up yet, go ahead and find it. I have it linked in that previous live stream. U.S. Nuclear Attack Survival Guide has issued a 15-minute warning. 15 minutes is enough time to potentially save your life. The U.S. Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, has issued a nuclear attack survival guide warning that 15 minutes is enough time to save your life. So they're saying be sure to read through the guide, see what steps they say to take action. A lot of people saying stock up on supplies now, as we are hearing that other nations are doing this as well. I believe it was Switzerland, Norway, Finland, if I remember quite correctly. Maybe it was Sweden, I can't remember. Several of them releasing pamphlets out to their citizens saying prepare for nuclear war. Things are escalating. However, we're hearing that Russia and Ukraine right now are open to a ceasefire agreement. They're hoping that Donald Trump will be the one that will be able to broker that. But we will see, because Russia is saying that they want to take the territory that they have managed to occupy at this time. Ukraine is saying they're willing to do that if they're going to be given approval to enter into NATO. And Ukraine's saying, if not NATO, then nukes. We either need NATO or nukes. You decide, but we need some form of reassurance that we will no longer feel this threat from Russia anymore. Joe Biden, a lot of controversy raised recently as Joe Biden said, hey, maybe we should take into consideration nuclear weapons. So there you have it, you guys. Now, if you want to get more information on the maps for the cities on the nuke list, be sure to check out this video right here. I also cover for you the guide that has come out from the U.S. government, from FEMA, on what to do in the United States if they launch nukes at us. But that is the latest. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.